So my name is Matthew Perrion. I'm a fisheries biologist with the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. My involvement with the Upper Big Blue NRD focuses primarily on recharge lakes specifically, and the fishery within that. So historically, the fishery provided some excellent largemouth bass fishing, channel catfish, as well as bluegill and crappie pan fishery as well. And then kind of over time, as sedimentation and siltation has continued to come into the reservoir, water quality has really suffered in that regard. So it's a lot more turbidity, nutrient load and things like that. It's also becoming shallower as well as that sedimentation and stuff flows into the reservoir. And so with that shallower water, the water temperature also becomes a little bit warmer as well. And so that can stress the fish in different situations. Yeah, so Recharge Lake is still providing some fishing opportunities, definitely. Still some largemouth bass, bluegill crappies that are present. Smaller size classes and size structure overall, as opposed to being larger fish. We do stock channel catfish in the reservoir every year on an annual basis as well, though, so the channel catfish will continue to provide a fishery as well. But with Recharge Lake, kind of an ideal water quality situation, you want it to be a little bit more or less turbid, so a little bit more water quality and clarity as well, and so that allows the fish to forage more efficiently as well, view their prey, see their prey a little bit more within the water itself too. It also helps with oxygenation, and so with the light penetration from the sun coming into the reservoir, if it's high turbidity, a lot of that light is reflected. It doesn't penetrate into the water column itself, and so the photosynthesis action of a lot of the aquatic plant life struggles, and so when you don't have a lot of that aquatic plant life, you don't have the habitat for the fish, which they need for spawning and other situations like that as well. So a lot of things can kind of suffer when you have high turbidity. Cascade effect, I guess, a little bit within the recharge lake, just as the water quality suffers, and that's kind of the basis of the pyramid, I guess, within the ecosystem. And so, as the water quality suffers, other things kind of cascade from that situation as well, and can lead to a fishery that isn't quite what we're hoping for. Definitely a complicated issue with things that could be proposed to improve the fishery, and a lot of it comes within the watershed itself. The watershed is very large that drains into Recharge Lake, and a lot of it is agricultural in its use as well. And so some of the programs that NRCS and the NRD is working with is cover crops, just maintaining some type of rooted vegetation or root matter on the soil. So when we do have heavy rain events or runoff from snow melt and stuff in the spring, a lot of that water stays on the soil surface where it is, as opposed to carrying that sediment as it flows into the reservoir, ultimately into Recharge Lake, carrying that sediment in there. So some of the things to work on, within the watershed itself would be cover crops or buffer strips and things like that to keep a lot of that soil from running off and getting into a lot of the creeks and similar systems like that. And then a sediment dike, focusing more on Recharge Lake itself. Some improvements could be putting in a sediment dike. There is one there currently, but maybe looking at that and assessing that. Some dredging could also be some things that are being looked at and proposed within the project as well to deepen the reservoir again and to maintain some cooler water habitat and then oxygen levels, things like that within the lake.